Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the New Populist. I am Dave Brown. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. So we have this announcement from Putin that there is going to be partial mobilization in Russia as opposed to full mobilization in Russia. And the pro-Russian side has said there needs to be some sort of change because of this embarrassing route of the Russian forces during this Ukrainian counteroffensive. Now, they also say that this happened because the parts of the front that Ukraine attacked weren't actually well defended. Most of the regular Russian troops were further south. And this was done with the help of NATO, who gave them the intelligence saying, hey, strike here. The Russians are not really fortified in this position. So the pro-Russian side has been saying, we need more troops to shore up this 1,000-kilometer front against Ukraine, because this was embarrassing. And even if it wasn't that bad as far as losses, from a propaganda standpoint, it looks bad and it's not good for morale. Now, the pro-Ukrainian side saying that the reason for this partial mobilization is because Russia is getting spanked. And as somebody who is neither pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine, I'm an American, I'm concerned about American security. I have my issues with both sides in this conflict. It's hard to figure out what exactly is going on. Now, Russia had, before this war started, a little over 1 million in active military. And with this mobilization, they're claiming that they're going to take 300,000 soldiers and not necessarily send them to the front line, but have them go to positions within Russia so the active duty military can be shifted to Ukraine to shore up that front. But the Ukrainians say, no, that's not what's going on. They're desperate. They're going to take these 300,000 soldiers and throw them to the front line, untrained, unequipped as cannon fodder because they have no other options and they are losing. Well, who was right and who was wrong? And the honest answer I have for you is, I don't know, although I'm inclined to believe that Russia does have some further military capabilities. Now, when the U.S.-led coalition invaded Iraq did not have help from a benevolent friend to give them all sorts of weapons to fight back against the United States military. And even then, years later after the invasion, we had to do a surge because we still hadn't had the situation under control. There were still militia within Iraq fighting against U.S. troops. So even the greatest military in the world had problems in Iraq. And it took years and years and years and years for that situation to finally calm down to where we're at now, almost 20 years later. So from the Russian perspective, and if I'm giving Russia some benefit of the doubt, they're fighting NATO equipment, a NATO-trained army, and they're trying to walk this fine line between providing enough resources to do or to accomplish their objectives, but not going too far as to escalate, which is my biggest concern. I've said every move that Russia makes, there's a reaction from NATO and other way as well. And there's a slow escalation. And the concern is at some point, as Putin said or threatened, and he claimed that he was not bluffing, that at some point he may use nuclear weapons. That is my concern because there is not going to be one nuclear weapon fired. If there is one fired, there's going to be 1,000. Now, is there the small possibility that they could use a tactical nuke on the battlefield and not have a response from NATO? Perhaps. Do you want to find out? I sure as heck don't. And that's what I worry about, this slow escalation. So Putin announces this partial mobilization. There is going to be some response from NATO. This is usually a way for each leader in Europe and the United States to run back and go, hey, more tax dollars to send to Ukraine in the form of assistance and weapons. And certainly the defense contractors within the United States are salivating at this partial mobilization, because you can be almost certain that at some point there will be another bill coming forward to grant more weapons to Ukraine. And of course, again, those weapons manufacturers will be making a lot of money. And the futures already show on the stock market is a positive trend. War is good for these people, and we're going to get more of it, not less, moving forward. And so the question is, as the seasons change and the battlefield gets boggy and it's wet and muddy and everything, will this significantly change what's happening? My guess is that Russia sort of solidifies their lines, and as some of the economic issues Europe faces get worse, perhaps there's more willingness to negotiate some sort of settlement. But the way NATO has been talking, the way Biden has been talking, I doubt that. And I think this will just keep dragging on and on and on and on. Now, that's not good for Russia, that's not good for Europe, but for the United States, we don't have a real energy problem. And we're not actually making any real sacrifice right now. And as long as that's the case, I don't see Biden or the United States backing off of Putin or being open to any sort of negotiations. That's the Europeans. They're the ones who are going to be facing a cold winter. They're the ones facing high energy cost. And I think ultimately, if there is going to be any sort of negotiated peace, the Europeans will have to take a lead role in that, because they are the ones suffering, not the United States. We're comfortable. We're fine here. We're good. But if you're in Germany or England and you're getting those bills in the mail for your heat, your energy, you're hurting right now. And there has to be some sort of change going forward, because this can't go on forever. And I think Putin understands that. And that's part of his calculus going forward, is if I can just wait it out, will there be enough internal pressure politically in Europe for there to be a change in policy with regards to this war? We'll see. Because, again, the last thing we want is any further escalation. And this partial mobilization, excuse me, is just another small step in that direction, where, of course, the ultimate issue is nuclear war. Well, that's it for now. Again, if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.